pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And roll call, Larry,
Here.
Ronnie,
Yes.
Jeannie,
Here.
Joey,
Yes.
Herb,
Yes.
and the reading of the minutes of the regular town board meeting, date August 13th, 2012, time 7 p.m. at the Altona Town Hall, Altona, New York. Supervisor Ross called the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance, board members present. Supervisor Larry Ross, council members Ronnie Labarge, Jeannie Bushy, Joey Snide, Herbert Tarian. Others present, Deputy Supervisor Ellen Montgomery, Attorney Joseph Lavarendo, Highway Superintendent Fred Tarian. Minutes of the July 9th, 2012 regular town board meeting were read and accepted. Motion by Joey, seconded by Ronnie. The vote was all ayes. Resolution number 53, advertised for sidewalk bid. Motion by Herb, seconded by Joey. The motion was adopted. The clerk is directed to advertise for bids to repair a portion of the sidewalk in the town. Bids will be opened at a special meeting on August 27th, 2012 at 10 a.m. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 54, supervisor's report. Motion by Ronnie, seconded by Herb. The motion was adopted. To accept the supervisor's report as presented. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 55, approval of bills. Motion by Herb, seconded by Ronnie. The motion adopted to pay the bills as presented. General fund, $20,230.70. Highway fund, $20,012.36. Street Light District number 1, $794.53. Street Light District number 21, $158.55. Total, $41,196.14. Vote all ayes. Motion to adjourn by Jeannie, seconded by Joey. Vote was all ayes. Respectfully submitted, Carol Relation, Town Clerk. The special town board meeting, August 27th, 2012. Supervisor Ross called the special town board to order. Should be town board meeting. Pledge of Allegiance, board members present. Supervisor Larry Ross, council members Ronnie Labarge, Jeannie Bushy, Joey Snide. Absent, Herbert Tarian. Others present, Deputy Supervisor Ellen Montgomery. Supervisor Ross opened the bids received for the sidewalk. There were 5 bids received. RLC Construction and Enterprise from Peru, New York. Fuller from Keysville, New York. A to Z Property Maintenance, Champlain, New York. Bub's Enterprise from Chateauguay, New York. And Luck Brothers from Plattsburgh, New York. Resolution number 56, sidewalk bid award. Motion by Joey, seconded by Ronnie. The motion was adopted. Supervisor Ross was given authorization to award the bid to A Z Property Maintenance as the lowest bidder, with the town assisting in the work. The bidders were given the option to submit bids with the town assisting and with the contractor doing all the necessary work. Vote all ayes. Motion to adjourn by Joey, seconded by Jeannie. The vote was all ayes. Respectfully submitted, Carol Relation, Town Clerk.
Motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
I'll second it.
And vote please. Joey,
Yes.
Ronnie,
Yes.
Herb,
Yes.
Jeannie.
Yes.
Okay, first thing on the agenda, budget worksheet. They got passed out, the board just getting them because we didn't run into it, but everybody else got them when they picked up their paychecks. I need to get those back within a week so that I can get a budget put together here a little bit. so any increases we need to know about and that kind of thing. The next meeting we'll have to hand in, September 20th, September 30th, I have to hand in a budget to the town clerk, which is a tentative budget, and then we can go to work on it if it needs more from there. Number 2, starting salaries. I started looking at, being that there's no one running this time, I thought it was a good time to look at starting salaries on all our jobs. I guess you can't do it if they're up for, you know, you have to do it before they're up for election so that they know what they're getting into if they accept the job. And a lot of the people that have been here for a long time, and I don't think that somebody new coming in should necessarily start out with the same salary as somebody that isn't trained or isn't.
That's right.
You know. I've worked on it a little bit. I've got some suggestions, but I haven't got them all yet. I haven't worked on them all. The assessor, I looked at that because we're getting ready, Chris is getting ready to start here pretty soon as an assistant to Johnny. And he wanted to know what the starting salary would be if he ever ended up with that job in there. My suggestion is to go like $14,000 starting salary. I talked to John about it, we went over the number of parcels, we came up with that suggestion. I'd like to have people look at other positions, all the other positions. I know, like in Carol's position, she's been there a long, long time, a town clerk, tax collector. I would think we could maybe start that one out at 14,000, somebody new coming in. Secretary to supervisor, I thought maybe 25,000 with the insurance. And that's as far as I got on the other ones. I haven't taken a look at codes, dog control, judge, secretary, supervisor. I don't know what else we have in there. We got somebody for the park there too.
The assessor, is that as an assistant or
No,
the full-time position?
that would be
you're
the
talking?
full-time position. And I'm gonna recommend that we not pay any health insurance on anything part-time after this.
Yeah, that's
Everything's
very
fine the way it is now, but I mean, if there's a change, I don't think the town should do that. And if you have any suggestions, and I'll look, this isn't cut, etched in stone, I just started batting the idea around, so if somebody got some other suggestions, they're too low, they're too high, or on some of these other spots that I haven't looked at yet, you know, bring them up and we'll discuss them and get something in writing before there's anybody running for election that way. And it won't affect anybody that's in now, it's only gonna be people that come new, that aren't trained or, you know, no experience. But it'll give a good idea of where we're starting ahead of time. We're looking at maybe possibly starting Chris as Johnny's assistant on October 4th. And what that'll do is Danielle was getting that money and that'll go to Chris after that. The money that she was getting to do the helping. And what that is half of Johnny's salary. He gave it up so that he would have somebody to do hours when he wasn't. He does all the, Johnny will be responsible for everything that goes in the books, and he'll do all the changes in the books, he'll do all the work just the same, but it's the best way to get Chris trained is to get him working with John. So my suggestion is that, and that came from John also, is maybe start him around October 4th. I don't know what if the board has any objections to that or anything.
He only has one more class.
One class left to
Right.
take. But
I don't know who's done it that.
I don't anticipate moving Johnny until that state lawsuit is through, because that's something that he knows the ins and outs about
With the Indians or?
with the state property up here. He knows the ins and outs of that, and I think if it comes to court, I would need him in there. I wouldn't wanna go by myself in there with jump in that lion's den, but I would like his help. But that's what we're looking at. Does anyone have a problem with him going in and taking the same money that Danielle's taking? And just doing that extra help?
Oh, Danielle's?
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything more,
No.
just that he would start doing training, and Johnny would give him tasks and check him and that kind of thing.
No, I don't have a problem with it. It's just going from one, we're still spending it regardless.
Same number.
So-
And he'll be available.
Yeah, he'll have,
These
Johnny's
things won't
doing a
get piled
job.
up on Danielle's
Right.
desk to do anyway.
Johnny's doing a job description with me, and we're gonna sit down and go through it, and we're gonna go through it with Chris and everything ahead of time. And so if that all, comes about, we'll approve it next board meeting. And salaries, so be thinking about those salaries, and we're not high compared to other towns, we're low, but, you know, we're a small town and we gotta watch for the future. If it gets out of hand, then we won't be able to control it. Earth Science Engineering, that's the one that inspected the park, the engineer had to have inspect the park. And he checked it, I think 4 times since the last meeting, so the bill in there's a lot more than I'd like to see, but at any rate, they got you, because they gotta sign on. But he gave us a letter signing on, I don't know what the health department's going to do, because on his last, when I saw him up there last, he said you had to have site 12 and 14 put back into the old system, out of the new, back into the old, so. And he said, before I come back, you should seed it and get the grass growing and all that, and have everything complete, which I did. So he comes back, so he writes this letter, and he says, however, during the 4th site inspection visit, ESE instructed the town to reconfigure the wastewater collection piping so that sites 12 and 14 discharge to the east first. This portion of the wastewater collection piping had been buried, topsoiled, and seeded prior to our arrival for final inspection. According to Mr. Larry Ross, town supervisor, the wastewater collection piping was configured properly in May 2012, approximately 1 week after ESE's 4th site visit. Please contact me if you have any questions. And that's all true, but we put it there because he said to have it all ready to go, so it would be his last visit. So I'll have to call the health department and see if they, and we did change it. We changed it right after he left, because he's changed it so many times, we wanted to make sure we had it straight. And so I don't know if they want to come and check again or what they want to do. But as far as I'm concerned, it's done and in.
What did it end up costing us for their fee,
The one right now is 400 and something. It cost us pretty good,
for
but
the one visit?
for these last 4 visits, I think it was, it's in there. That's 405, I believe. But that's just those last 5 visits. Everything else they did, drawing up the plans and all that, it cost us plenty. Purdy Road, I got a call from the attorney, maybe a week ago, and it seems like what's happening right now is both attorneys are trying to put together some kind of a compromise that would work for everybody, and they're going to work on that and then get back to each side and see if we can come up with some kind of a compromise, apparently. Sidewalks, some of the town board members decided to go check, see where we wanted to put them. And I started right where you said, the north side of Starks Road, and came down as far as Maynard Lodgeway's driveway. And then there's 79 feet in front of Rudy's Apartments. And that'll be about all we can afford this year. When I got going with it all, I thought everything was fine. I called the county just to make sure, because being on there, they're bordering their road. Then Al tells me I need a permit, so I put together that, sent it in, and they require 5 feet instead of 4, which we had there. So I had to refigure it by the square foot to make it the same amount for everybody, so. it still came out the same, so. A to Z was the one that won the bid, it was $13.50 a foot, and, I think it was Bob's was next with $15.40 a foot. And then we had RLC at $22.19, Fuller at $26.50, and Luck Brothers at $39.60. So I've gotten a hold of A to Z, he came and looked at it, we've got it all marked out. The town guys are gonna try to take the cement out between now and the 18th, they're trying to get it out of there, so. And then he'll start, and he should have it done on time. And what that'll do is connect from the Starks Road all the way to the post office with decent sidewalks without too much for cracks, or there's none of that twisted up stuff. And it works out all right, because where we're starting off is after a road, so going from 4 to 5 feet wasn't a bad thing, and then we're ending up right at a driveway, so, you know, it's gonna work out fine. And down by Rudy's where we're gonna be in the middle, it's already 5 feet, so that was luck, so that worked out all right. So that'll put that together a little bit. Bonnie Jensen, I just put her on there for Fred's sake. She's asking for a couple of signs. She's the one that had like 70-some tires dumped on her lawn and some other garbage and trash, so she was wondering if we would put some signs that are no dumping and road under surveillance signs, and you know, try to keep a better eye on it. And I'll take that up with Fred. That's the only reason I put it on there, so I wouldn't forget.
Where she live there?
Atwood Road. Somebody came along and dumped like 70-some tires on it, right on their yard.
Jesus.
It's a nice way to treat somebody. Over Labor Day weekend, the town garage got broken into. They smashed our brand new door we just put on, that fuel door. And then they broke the big window in there. I don't know what kind of glass it was, reinforced anyways. They smashed that and broke that door casing also. So we got 2 ruined doors. And they came in and stole a chainsaw and a metal cutting saw and then a tester. That's all I know about so far that they took. But that's the second time we've had things. Well, the first time was they broke the window out of the grader. And so that was the beginning of the summer, so they're gonna end up with this apparently. We've called the insurance company, she's on top of that, getting the prices and stuff to them, what we spent on things. Nothing back from the police yet, as to if they have any ideas who it was or anything. So I guess times are bad, and that's what people do sometimes. But luckily, everything was locked, it had to be smashed in, it wasn't something they just walked in and grabbed something.
We should get some bars and make some gates on the front of our buildings if they're gonna start that. Across the doors,
It wouldn't hurt if you had
and they could build them
some,
right in the garage and put them right on.
some other security
On
on
the
there.
windows. If they could've got in, sabotaged a new truck or something, you realize what that would cost us,
I know.
you know? Especially right during plowing season.
Luckily, he had everything locked up tight, so insurance will cover us, but,
Sure.
you know, that's what I was worried about, as long as they keep it locked, and if somebody,
Sure.
if Fred said, see, if I had locked it, they wouldn't have broken the doors.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
We got like a lot of air sockets and stuff out there, real expensive.
yeah, for sure.
Surprised they didn't take those too.
Yeah.
I think they grabbed something quick that they could carry and sell, you know.
Grab it and get out.
But at any rate, if you see anybody with a nice Husqvarna's chainsaw, so,
Put the word out all over even at work,
anyone trying to
just in case
sell.
something great. Maybe I oughta catch them. One time I had someone steal a toolbox of me like that. So I put it in the paper and Plastic Press, $200 reward for that toolbox. Same guy that stole it brought it back. He took some good tools out, but he brought it back.
Found it. Just happened to find it.
Yeah. They didn't get the $200 either.
Next on there is the Feinberg Park. They had approached us about staying there longer, and once they found out what the expenses were and how much they had to pay, they decided, only one wanted to stay, so they've decided not to do that this year. They're looking at maybe, next year having the season run to October for our September 30th with an additional fee. And also, they're looking at, probably 6 cents more a kilowatt for their power. So, I think we'll wait until October to see what the weather looks like too before we decide anything on that. Newsletter, October 15th, if we can get everything turned in to us by October 15th, I think that'll give us plenty of time to put it together. If anybody has anything, and if Fred's not here, the girls are here, and whoever else, we'll put something together for that. I'll try to get it up for election day, always, so. The highway department has been paid, they paved Elder Bend, they had an awful time getting their pavement, they finally did and got that paved. And then they went over and did the Rabdo Road. And I haven't been up the Elder Bend since they did it. I guess it should look pretty good. They dug out, cleaned the ditches and.
Actually came out very good, I think.
Looks good,
A lot better than it was.
They're currently putting up sand, and then once they get that done, they're gonna clean up those sidewalks for us so that we can get those put back in. I got a letter here from FEMA. They sent us a check for $11,041 for more Hurricane Irene. The governor decided to pay our share of it, the state, so we get a little bit more than we did. To date, all we've applied for and gotten back, I was surprised when they had to put it all down on one thing, and $98,629.14. So, you know, that did help.
So where do we put that money?
That goes right back in highway, right where it
That
came
went
from.
into the highway?
Yep, right where it came from. What else I got? As long as I got Jamie sitting there, I think I'll talk to him.
That's what I came in for quickly. I had a fire meeting, so
I wanted to call you, and it's hard to catch you now with soccer
Yes,
and work and
exactly.
stuff. About the skating rink, do you ever run into anybody that wanted to?
We can set up a committee. I'd love to have some board members on the committee. Like I said, Sam is the person that's doing that. I'm not a construction person. I'll go up and labor for anybody, but I don't know anything about
Are
it.
they still interested?
I think they are. You know, I think probably are still interested, but he just needs equipment. If he can get equipment, that's the whole thing. Doing that by hand, you know, we've run into that problem all along.
Well, let's find out. Let's get something going so that we
Okay.
can get it before it gets cold.
So when do you wanna do that?
Quick as you can.
Okay. So you want me to set the meeting date and all
Yeah, if
that?
you do that.
And I'll let you guys know?
Yep.
Okay. As far as youth commission goes, had a very successful baseball, softball season. We had, grasshopper girls, pee-wee girls, and a pony girls. We, had t-ball for both. We did not have a grasshopper, boys teams due to the fact that there just weren't enough kids. There were 10 or 11 kids that signed up, 9, 8 would show up. 2 of the kids were very young. They would kind of hide behind their father's leg and that kind of stuff, so for safety reasons, they decided not to have. So they practiced all year with them. We did have a pee-wee team, and soccer right now, we've got the most kids we've ever had. We have 2 mini-mite teams, we have 3 mite teams, 2 pee-wee teams, and a bantam team this year. It's the first time we've ever had a bantam team
Nice.
right now, so things are going well. Jimmy Brunell was the coordinator, did an excellent job with the fields this year. You know, baseball field, softball field never looked so good. And he's up there working with the soccer fields, and everything's lined, and
I'd like to see on him is once everything gets turned back in, let him inventory it. And then next year when they go to hand it out, if he could do it here and get the paperwork from the coaches and everything, I think that would smooth everything right out as far as.
I don't think there's any problem with that anymore. As far as bats and all that kind of stuff. All they have to do is, if they contact Jimmy, they contact me, we go up to the building, that's where we keep it all, and hand it out. Everything's marked, you know, like Pee Wee girls, bag's marked. There it is, there's your Pee Wee stuff, you know, that kind of stuff. As far as uniforms and stuff like that, Claire takes care of all that. Uniforms are handed out. You know, the key thing is the rosters and that, everything's been turned in on time and everything's been, you know, with the county. You know, everything's on time and in. And like I said, you know, we had that one problem with that one category of boys, and there's just not enough kids, there's not a lot of kids. We actually took 2 from Ellenburg, the Gilmore kids who played with us. They were living in Morris, now they moved to Ellenburg Center. They ended up going back to Ellenburg towards the end. So, you know, hopefully the age group, there'll be more kids coming up and we can get more kids, because that is a athletically talented group.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot there,
Yeah.
you know, like not a lot of kids number-wise. So, but other than that, everything went well. We've switched from chalk to the paint for the most part for soccer season, because paint lasts a lot longer with the wet weather. During baseball season, we use the chalk, it's a little bit cheaper. So, and on the dirt, that lasts. But on the fields, on the grass part, the paint works a little bit better on it, so.
I don't care about the paint as much as I did the junk that was left, all the cans.
And that's the whole thing, and everything's been cleaned out and been taken care of, and we're throwing it as we go, and so.
We've got the worksheets out for the budget, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would like to talk to the board about soccer nets for next year. You bought us the nice set of big ones.
Mhm.
We would like to, we don't need the big ones anymore, we got one Pee Wee field, and that's all we will have, even for 2 teams. But we need some of the mite-sized soccer nets. Thinking in the BSN catalog, probably $800, $900. We could use a couple sets, because right now we have 2 mite fields set up and a Pee Wee team field, so that we can play 3 different games there. But if we could get 2 more sets of those nice nets. PVCs are all right. They're not the proper width and height. However, we get by with them, the county really doesn't care. But if we could get, you know, Rouse's Point has some nice ones. Talked to the rec leaders, it was about $700, $800 for a set. But if we could get a couple sets of those, it would be absolutely great. And other than that, I mean, we're not looking for much more than that. So. Baseball wise, we're pretty much set. I don't know, Jimmy had talked about maybe doing another backstop. Not sure if that's where, haven't decided that or whatever. But I mean, if we could, you know, if he needs help with that, as far as, you know, money wise, maybe we could, since you did the other one, we could maybe fund a little bit of that too. Looks great. The Pee Wee field that he did down the girls field looks absolutely great. Wonderful. Compared to what it did. I mean, there used to be rocks sticking out like this. And he did with the tractor, he put a lot of time into it and did a great job.
I was really impressed the way he dealt with people.
Right.
I thought he did a very good job of that.
Exactly.
What kind of nets you said they were? What group?
They're a metal. It's a metal, like aluminum type net. It's not the expensive ones like the ones that we ordered for the Pee Wee type field. These are more.
These are mites, you said?
For the mites, right?
Mites.
Exactly. And we need 2. Like I said, we put up 2 fields because we've got 3 teams, and I could see we got too many mite teams, so it's still going to stay that way for a while. You know what I mean? So if we could get another set of those, it'd be great.
We'll look and see what happens.
Okay.
We're putting a budget together. So.
And that's what I mean. If I can, I'll grab one of those magazines. I can send your quote over, and you can look at them and decide yourself. But that's the only thing I really need to budget for next year. I'd like to budget. So. Okay.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me know on that. There are some board members interested in going to that.
Okay,
meeting.
I will do that. I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Newsletter we covered. Supervisor's reports next, I guess.
I'll second it.
And a vote, please. Jeannie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Joey?
Yes.
I want to throw in one more thing here. I met with Mindy Guerin during this month about the playground stuff. She wanted to get playground stuff. And playground stuff, wicked expensive. I don't know what the deal is, but it's like $30,000 or $40,000 just to get a basic set. And so, you know, I explained that to her. I said, my God, that's expensive, that stuff. So when she got looking at it, it was $2,000 per slide. And I said, you know, we don't have that kind of money to, but she asked if we would put some money in the budget, and I told her if there was room in there that we had some, we maybe could put some in there a little bit each year and build up a fund for it. But she had written for a grant, and she was disappointed she hadn't heard anything, but all of a sudden, a few days ago, they called and said that they would be glad to fund us, and they got our number, so I think she may have gotten that grant. And it just took a while to get through.
How much was it?
I'm not sure, how much do you know?
Well, initially, they said $2,000, but I know that the program where this is coming from, they've increased what they're giving a year, so I don't know if it may be more.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, though, probably.
But they were looking at $2,000.
She had some complaints that people had been to her, because she's on the youth commission, about swings and that kind of thing, so I told her I'd check them out, and I went up and the swings, the bottoms of the swings are worn out, so, there was three of them, and then there was like a one for infants, and they said that there was something wrong with that, the kids were falling out, but there was a girl there with a little fella, and I happened to watch, and I said, well, we gotta get all new bottoms. She said, well, why do you need a new one of these? And she says, you're gonna get the same thing you got sitting there. And I said, well, yeah, but there's apparently something wrong. She says, no. She says, the people are putting the kids in backwards because there's little holes like this in one side, so they automatically stick their legs through there. Well, it's not. Their rear end's supposed to go that way and their legs out the other way. So that's tipping them over, apparently. So she said, if you buy one, you're gonna get the same thing you got. So I said, all right. So I did order the bottoms, and the chains were good. I was gonna order the plastic over the chains, and then I talked to a few different people, and they said your hands get all sticky because that melts, so they didn't want that. So all I ordered was the seats, and they should be here anytime, I would think. So
Has anyone ever checked the pins in the top of the chain?
everything looked good.
Looks good,
So,
yeah, a lot of years, a lot of use.
yeah, but they're not even rusty.
No.
Yeah, they look pretty decent. The big slide that's there is metal, and of course in summertime it's hot as can be.
Sure.
But other than that, that little girl slid down it, but I said, you better not, it's pretty hot, but they did anyways. And, that's the only trouble with that one. I don't see a problem with leaving it there as long as they know it's hot in summertime and it doesn't hurt anything. You can still slide down it, but if she gets this other slide, it might attach right to the stuff that's already up there. I don't know if we can do that or not.
Yeah, that's actually something I think is good for the kids. We don't have a lot.
Right.
We really need to.
Well,
Even if we start out, like she said, a small budget, just
keep adding on
put a little
whenever
in
we
every
can.
year, and then
Save for it, and pretty soon you're there, you know, but I don't wanna borrow it, and I'd
No.
rather wait till we got the money, and if we, you know, once we put the budget together, we'll know if we got something to put there. We can start a little fund there. So that was my idea there, and Mindy, boy, she's a worker, and she gets on to something, she doesn't give it up, that's for sure. Next is, well, pay the bills, I guess.
I'll make a motion, we pay them and accept them.
I'll second it.
And a vote, please. Joey?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
And then you got the ones to sign. Hopefully we're all done with that septic business up there and stuff.
It's been at
All
it,
cleaned up.
it's been going on for how many years?
Oh, forever, it seems like, and we could never get anywhere with it. I don't know. I don't know how many times I prayed for it to wash to Champlain, but it never did. But, yeah, they aren't working. But, yeah, so we're hopefully through that, this sometime, I would hope this month, I've got it hired to come and work on the powerhouse, cause that's, grant money there, and, it's hard to get anybody who'll do it. I've had 3 or 4 contractors, nobody ever wants to do it, so hopefully.
Tough job, or?
I don't know if it is, I don't think so, it isn't really, you're up high on top of the darn thing, as long as the roof's solid, and that's the only scary part, I'm wondering if it's solid enough to hold you, I guess, but other than that, it's facing on it has come off, some of the siding, and then stuff around the chimneys, so it leaks, but we get the leak stopped, then we can start doing some construction inside it, kinda neat. Nothing so far. The other project is still out there, and he swore to God he'd be here, is the new dump site up here, they're supposed to come and finish that up and get in there. He told me he'd do it before the winter, so I don't know.
When do you wanna take it over?
Quick as he can get in there, I just soon have him go, and then, you know, cause Dean wants us out of the other spot, and
Sure.
I don't know, I know they got some work to do up there, they gotta take those big, huge rocks that they piled and put those there, and then they've gotta, put power maybe in their building if they want power, and, maybe a fence will have to go there too, cause otherwise it's gonna have garbage all over.
Sure. Is that gonna be our expense, that part of it?
I don't think so, I
No.
think he's gonna, I don't know that for sure yet,
Right.
he hasn't talked too much about it, but maybe the fence part. I'd like to plant, cedars inside the fence after, to cover it more.
Yeah, that'd be good.
When people are there. And I don't think it'll be a problem at all once we get it up and operational. Anybody else, anything for the board?
You heard anything about my building permit, Larry?
Yes, I did. No,
Hi.
I thought you were just here with Joe, so I didn't.
No, I'm on my own issue here.
Okay.
I have issues, I give him my issues when he comes, and I tell him, did you talk about him? And he's just like, well, no. So I'm here for my own issues. I don't know if the town's aware, but we have an issue with abandoned cats
Oh,
in town. And just so you all know, if anybody wants to come up to our house and sit outside in the evening, we're up to 13 cats right now.
You don't feed them.
You're talking to a farmer, okay? And it's not just us. There's other people in the town. My mother, how many do you have?
I've seen 2 stray cats in the last week.
My mother has had them up there. Right now, she's got 2 that she brought in the house, the kittens. My daughter took one of her kittens, even though we got tons of them. And she just told me today that the stray cat is pregnant again. So we started out last fall with strays. Joe brought one in, because she was very gentle, and she was petite. She was already fixed, so someone just dropped her off. The other one, I wouldn't let him bring in. She stayed around all winter. In the middle of the winter, we were up to 5 cats that were at the house, all strays. By spring, all of them were gone except one, because she was an indoor cat, because whenever she could, she tried to get in. She got pregnant, so then she had a litter, so we have a litter up there. So we were dealing with that. And then 3 weeks ago, someone just dropped off 2 at our house. And it's getting a little beyond. They're little tiny black twin cats. They look exactly alike. I heard a noise outside, and they're trying to get into the windows. They're house cats. They're very gentle, they're kind. The one up to our house, she just had another litter. She took off. She just brought those over. And it's not just us. I talked to Lionel. Lionel said there's nothing he can do. I called Victoria St. John. I don't know if you're aware of her. Basically, she told me to get them all fixed and get a nice house for them for the winter, because they are now mine. And she said Champlain, Moores, and Altona has a very bad case of abandoned cats. And there's nothing that she's overwhelmed. There's nothing she can do. She's like, if you can go to your town to see if there's funding or if there's something they can do. I mean, if there's a stray dog, he comes, picks the dog up, you don't hear any more about it. You have a stray cat, there's nothing they can do, you know? And I feel bad, they're beautiful, beautiful animals, but we're being overrun. So her big thing is, if you guys are aware of it, you know, if you get things down from the county on this problem, I know Plattsburgh, she said, is bad. I mean, we tried to go, my mother tried to get to the shelter on the base. they have so many cats, and then they said they could foster them out. And they called her back and said, no, the fosters are full. You're basically your problem. You know, and I just want you guys to be aware of that. So if something comes over, like your budget you said is coming up, if you have something from the county where they want some support from to do something about this, either a shelter or someone who can take care of all this, it's out of hand. You know, it's out of hand, and I know the Joe Wood Road is full of them.
I'll call the county and see if there's anything out there, any kind of programs or whatever, I don't know.
You know, and you know, like your surveillance sign, if there's one put near my house, because people think that we're cat people now in the town, and they're just dropping them off.
Yeah,
You
Need
know?
a sign saying we're not cat people.
yeah.
And they multiply fast.
That's
That's what
terrible.
she said, if you don't get them fixed, you're gonna have
Yeah,
30 by
right.
spring,
Sure,
and
have to.
I can't afford to get 13 cats neutered,
I must have had 15 or 20
you know?
spayers.
We have the one in the house, and that's all it's gonna be, so,
The state was doing that, I think they gave up at the farm and
Well,
down there.
there's a young lady, I believe in Saranac, I believe she resides on the General Leroy Manor Road, who is a new veterinarian in town that actually has a mobile unit or a mobile clinic, and she does it for a very reasonable price. And that's really what it takes. If you don't do that,
Not hard. Pete took
you
about
will be
8.
overrun.
We got it fixed there.
You
Both
did?
male and female.
Took 8 of them there?
Yeah, not of that girl, but, up around Redford there, that.
Yeah, there's another place.
Redford.
Lady.
Fixed.
Yeah.
Lately, I see them all over.
I know
think they
Bill
might
in
got
North
them on
Aaron
the
had the
store,
same problem,
easy
they
fix.
have over $700 in stray cats that
It's
they
food.
brought to the vet.
you know, it's very expensive, and the thing is, you pull in our yard, and they're there, and they're sitting there waiting for you, you know,
Oh, yeah,
and
too.
they won't let you touch them, there's only a couple of them, you know, the main, the mother, who was a house cat, these new little tiny kittens are unbelievable friendly. But her litter, she wouldn't bring them to the house until they were older, and she wouldn't let Joe touch them. So they wouldn't let us touch them, and they're absolutely gorgeous cats, but they only want food from us. And now we have this new litter, and
Using you, is all they're doing.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's we go somewhere and we have to have someone come to take care of all these animals, and we're leaving for vacation on Friday, and I'm like, we will not be having someone come to take care of all these
Well, I
animals.
guess you're gonna be going by yourself, he's gotta stay home.
Well, it did start with his problem.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, cold, they're gonna wanna start getting inside, you know, it's,
Yeah.
this fall.
And you should never stop to watch you start feeding them, you can't
I
stop.
know,
Well, you can't.
It's hard not.
You can't stop them.
They'll find stuff, that's what they got mice running around out there.
There is no more mice, there's no more chipmunks,
See,
and
that's the
at our
benefit.
house, everything's gone.
But you're a lot of cats.
That's just it.
Well, I'll check, I don't know what's
Okay.
out there.
I
don't think there's much out there.
It's gonna be a touchy situation.
Well, then maybe they'll have to do something, maybe they'll have to
Well.
start something, you know? I'll bring it up at the supervisor's meeting and see.
I don't think a lot of people
somebody
shoot them,
doing
so I
something.
mean,
No.
these are the next best thing.
So, well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Anybody else, you got anything? Great.
Do you feel better?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
now,
you do.
when he comes home, I won't say, did you mention it?
You're out of the woods today. All right, I entertain a motion.
I'll second it. Okay, someone catch it.
And a vote please. Larry?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Herb? And Ronnie?
Yes.
Joey?
Yes.
Four each. Point Joey, they're gonna have to do something like that, they're gonna have to have a shelter, just like they do dogs. Sure.
We'll have to cover up with sheets or holes in it so they can see me coming. And I'm gonna put the food in the bag, and see if I can't get one find out later. Yeah, well, she says, she'll lose it, I see her this year.
She brought him over, she
And
just
she
brought
goes,
him
bring
over.
them in now.
She brought him over
You
on
can catch
Saturday.
so.
I got those live traps.
Yeah.
They got some.
If
They're
they're-
more friendly, but
Get over
I
to,
talked to
what's
his
the name,
last
Nancy,
night,
Oh, Nancy, every straight cat they have, she wants. I think that's gonna come. She's got so many over there, she can't afford to feed them. Well, can't feed them, and then they just stray off from there. They're gonna go where the food is.
Nobody has to go.
They're gonna balance the house.
Yes.
That's like,